Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will, where we share international insights, perspectives, and some levity on things such as leadership and mindset for Monday Mindset, travel and the travel business on Wanderlust Wednesday, and sports on Fanatic Friday. Each episode is about 20 to 30 minutes in length, so you can plan accordingly. Find us on all major platforms, including the one you just found us on now. And today's episode is sponsored by Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. Thank you, Nick Menard.
Hello, winners. How you doing today?
Ooh, we have a lot to talk about. NFL, and then some more NFL. So I am wearing, in honor of probably playing this last game, my son got me this Aaron Rodgers Pleasant Valley High School jersey. On the back, it says Rodgers 12. I'd turn around and show everybody. You just have to take my word for it, but it does. He threw his 500 touchdown pass. And probably played his last game.
Hope so.
He did not go out on a high note. And I think when he went into that dark cave and had the ayahuasca, he came out different, and it wasn't better football-wise. Maybe as a human, maybe. But definitely not football-wise.
I don't know.
Anyway, but he did do a lot for Green Bay, so in honor of him, I'm wearing this shirt.
Yeah, he won one championship. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy that you are wearing his high school jersey.
I actually like the colors.
Yeah, the color are good. Way better than green. And me, for those who are not watching the video, I'm wearing my Texas Longhorns jersey. So because tonight is the night.
Yeah, big game. Everyone's jumping on the Ohio State bandwagon. Why don't we start there real quick? Because we're going to talk a lot of NFL. Maybe get your quick thoughts about Texas, because obviously you've been talking about Texas most of the year.
Of course, I'm biased. That's my team. Usually, I'm very, I'm very open about what I think. Like, seriously, here, yeah, on paper, Ohio State are clear favorite because of what they showcased the last two games. Beating with no issue Tennessee, and then definitely the last game against Oregon, they destroyed them. And yeah, the wide receiver is sick. He's super phenomenal. 18 years old, what he's able to do, and I know all of that. I know they are the most complete team, but I do believe that it is typical game where Texas come out with a very sloppy performance against ASU, and everybody calmed them out. Ohio State, everybody think that they're already a champion this year. And that's typical game where I wouldn't be surprised if Texas are actually playing the best game of the year and beating Ohio State to go to the championship game. Or kryptonite, like you mentioned earlier, was Georgia. They're out now.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, it's back-to-back year Final Four. So I'm happy, but as a fan, you always want more, of course. And tonight is a chance to actually get better than last year.
It's so funny how we live in an age where people's memory lasts about a week. Because, like, when the playoffs first started, everyone's like, if Ryan Day loses, the Tennessee's getting fired.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 weeks later, they're like, Ohio State's a national championship before the fin. We picked the games. For those of you who follow us, you know this, but if you haven't, go back a few weeks and listen to our recording. This is a matchup we thought could happen. Ohio State, Texas. The one where we missed was we thought Georgia was going to be playing Penn State.
But we said that Notre Dame. I would not be surprised Notre Dame won, and they did win. And no, that's the
but our formal pick was that
Georgia.
But everything's lining up. And it could be Texas, and then who knows? Anything can happen in the championship game. Good luck tonight. I think hook 'em horns. I think they have a great shot. And I know we have some listeners who are Ohio State fans. I'm not a huge college football fan. I follow it. I enjoy it. But their fans are annoying as hell. Like, I just, they're wired. They remind me of Vikings fans. So I mean, But I'm rooting for Texas. I hope they pull it off.
There you go.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. Now, the NFL. We're going to do something a little different. Since the regular season just wrapped, what we're going to do is talk about some teams and players that disappointed us or didn't live up to expectations this past year, teams and players who exceeded our expectations, and then we'll jump into the wild card matchups, some great matchups coming up on that one. So, where do you want to start? With the ones who disappointed?
Yeah.
All right. So would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Pick a player team.
So the team would disappoint me, and it's gonna be kind of a surprise for some. I really thought that Cleveland Browns, beginning of the year, I remember I said Cleveland Browns were one Deshaun Watson away of Houston Texans. If he's there, they are going to be the team to beat, because the way that they end the last 7 games of the season last year was phenomenal while having Flacco as a quarterback. Then this year, Watson was supposed to come back and be the answer, and actually it's all the opposite. So I think that when a quarterback shows us who they are few years in a row, we need to accept the fact that it's that. I'm not a Browns fan, but I really had extremely high expectation for the Browns this year. And that's probably where the problem started. But yeah, for me, they are a big disappointment because they were nowhere to find. Last year, they were excellent in defense, a great offense outside the quarterback, and now it was a big surprise. I know people expect me to say the Cowboys, but I had not high expectation for the Cowboys this year. So it is what it is. I thought about Houston as well. But they're in the playoff, but we're expecting probably more from the Texans. But if I have to pick one team, it's gonna be the Browns. For the one player, for me, it's the person that you wear the jersey for. Like Rodgers, the disappointment of what Aaron Rodgers did this year. I know he came back from Achilles, but with all the shenanigan that they did, not coming on the camp, the pre-camp, and acting like I don't need to do nothing, I just show up and do well.
Decided to go to Egypt in the pyramids instead of mandatory.
Not seriously, but the awful performance. He bleeded better at the end, but he's clearly over, and he needs to move on to just live in a cave or something. But he needs to get out. Hopefully, not seen on TV, because I cannot stand this. This dude. So yeah, that's for me. Browns and Rodgers.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's funny. I'm a little different. My team that disappointed me is the Jets, because even with Rodgers not playing as well, the Jets won 7 games with Zach Wilson as quarterback. So I never saw this coming. I actually put money on the Jets to be over. I thought you were going to get Rodgers when he's mad. Yeah, lost on that one. There's some I've made money on, though. Arizona, thank you. San Francisco is my other team that underperformed. I would say San Francisco and the Jets.
Oh, yes.
But 2 different reasons. San Francisco, you can point to injuries. And people say you can't use injuries as an excuse, but there's a reason some players are starters and some players are backups. So I think San Francisco really got hit with injuries, but they definitely still underperformed, and they got shellacked by Arizona in that last game. And the Jets. They're my 2 disappointing teams. The player who disappointed me, I like what you did with the Browns, though, because I thought the Browns were going to be good. I think the player for me, I'm going to go 1A, 1B. I'm going to say CJ Stroud, and stay on your seat, Jordan Love. And they both showed sophomore slump, even though Jordan Love is in his 5th year, but it's only his 2nd year starting. CJ Stroud, 2nd year starting. They both showed sophomore slump. Decision-making, not as good. You can argue for CJ Stroud. He got sacked a lot. Jordan Love didn't. And Jordan Love's decision-making really left me scratching my head a lot of times this year, and CJ Stroud too. But I would give CJ Stroud a little bit because he got hit a lot more. But I think both players, you were thinking they were going to be potential MVP candidates the way they finished last year. So we'll see. Next year, I think it's going to be a telling year for both. Do they take that next step? Obviously, both are in the playoffs. Neither team is favored. So we'll see. We'll talk about more of that later, but I was disappointed with those two. I thought they would be better than what they were.
Yeah, I think it's totally fair. None of those picks that you mentioned for teams and players are actually picks that I disagree with. So we agree with different answer, but we agree.
Yeah. So how about teams that exceeded your expectation or players that exceeded your expectation?
I really have two. I don't know. The two teams for me is clearly Minnesota Vikings that overexceeded. And the second is the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, those two teams, no one expected either of those two teams to be ending the way they ended. So those are the two. I mean, what Josh Allen did with the Bills, for me, I mean, I know everybody are just debating between Jackson and Josh Allen. For me, it's clearly Josh Allen. It's not about who is the offensive player of the year, which I would give probably to Jackson, even though there's...
Really? Over Saquon?
Over Saquon. It's Saquon or Jackson, but offensive player of the year.
Yeah.
When it comes to MVP, I want people to understand what MVP means. It's most valuable player. You take Josh Allen off the team. This is a lottery pick team.
Mm-hmm.
You take Jackson off of Baltimore, puts any quarterback in that team, they may not have the same results, but they will be maybe two wins away.
Yeah.
So for me, the most valuable is clearly Josh Allen. That's not even close to me. Yeah, the numbers are fantastic of what he's doing, but of what the Jackson is doing. But for me, that's not the point. Minnesota, I know it is a team that you cannot stand. Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings. We know why.
Yeah.
But what they are able to achieve all year long, where nobody would have thought. I remember when we talked beginning of the season, you were like, we're going to dominate the division between us and Detroit. I think you had Detroit winning, but you had Green Bay close second. When you see what Minnesota were doing all year long, I was very impressed. So those are the two teams for me who overperform. When it comes to player, I can easily go the same way, like saying like Darnold and of course Josh Allen, but I will go another direction and I will give credit to, and this one I will give credit to Saquon Barkley. I mean, coming to a new team and be able to do what he does with like a signature move in the middle of the season.
Oh yeah.
Backwards leaping. And I hate the Eagles, but there's no possible way for me to hate on him. This guy, this is who you want in a team. The mindset that he has. I remember beginning of the season or mid the season when he's on the bench and he can achieve like a few more yards to get like, and the coach go to him and say, hey, you want to go? He said, no, let the guys hit. I mean, such a team player. At the end of the year, he is 100 yards away to make history. I don't care, 16, 17 games. He still would be in the record book.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally said, do what the team needs me to do. If he needs me to rest, I'm resting. I'm all about the team. Who are going to be like that when you see people like Hill in Miami, who is all about himself and things like that? I mean, I hate the Eagles, but I cannot hate on Saquon. And I think for me is the positive surprise this year because he was always injury prone. He never really played a full year with the Giants. I think one season. To come in the team, do what he does, be the mentality, the mindset that he has, I have to give it to him.
Yeah, I agree. And he is a true leader. He would be somebody on a Monday Mindset to get the interview and stuff like that. Cause he is all about the team. And it's not fake. You can tell it's genuine. And you see how the Giants absolutely collapsed. Like Saquon was hurt a lot early on. So I didn't really know how good he really was. I thought it was maybe more hype out of Penn State, but obviously he's healthy and with his leadership, heck of a player. He's my offensive player of the year. I think he should get it and Josh Allen should get MVP. As much as it pains me to say, I would have picked both the Vikings as over and Sam Darnold. I did not see that coming. But I won't be redundant. And I also would have picked the Bills. I thought when Josh Allen wouldn't have enough around him and he played out of his mind, which I agree why he should get MVP. So I'm going to go pivot and do something different. I will say, even though I'm a huge fan of Harbaugh and I figured the Chargers would be good next year, I didn't think they'd be this good this year. Pick. I think they adopted his identity quick. They drafted that tackle. And he's like, I consider offensive lineman weapons. When they're like, why didn't you draft a weapon? And he's like, I consider offensive lineman weapons. Yeah. And here they are on the road, the Texans. They're actually favored. And Herbert, so, he changed the offense. They ran a ton. And the guys they're running the ball with were like mediocre guys on other teams. And they're crushing it. Here's Herbert, almost 4,000 yards. 23 touchdowns, not as much as the past, but only 3 picks.
That's sick.
I mean, so the Chargers exceeded expectations. And I'm going to give you a real crazy one here. I think Carolina. And I'm going to go with their quarterback in terms of exceeding expectations. Now, he started slow, and they started slow. And then he got benched. And you thought that was it, right? There was even talk about maybe trading them at the deadline, see if they could get a 4th or 5th round pick for him. And I went with Carolina with my upset picks a couple of times in the second half of the season, and they came through. And then they win. They beat Atlanta, who had a chance to win the division. I think Carolina is building something sneaky good. That coach, I don't know who the heck he is, but he seems to be pushing the right buttons. And, I like Kyle Brandt. He's on Good Morning Football. And he's on my feed. And then Twitter, he's like, Carolina is going to be the sneaky, trendy wild card pick for next year. And I didn't actually laugh at that. I was like, yeah, I could. They're doing something there. So
their division. I mean, of course, when you're in division with New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, you will have a shot. But I wouldn't have picked that as a surprise team because it's really more about the 5 last game, not the rest of the season. But I see where you're coming from. And Young, I'm not the biggest fan of Young, but the strength mentally to come back from being benched as a second year sophomore after 2 games and then come back, play and finish the year the way he does. He needs to get recognition for that. So I agree on that level. I totally agree with the Chargers though. I love Harbaugh and what he's able to do and the sneaky good pickup of McCutling. I mean, again, wide receiver, you can find great. You look at this year, there are like 4 rookie at more than 1,000 yards receiving, or 5, I think. There's Bowers as a tight end. Yeah. You have McCutling. You have of course, Jamas Jr. like in Jacksonville. And then nobody even talk about Harrison Jr. When Harrison Jr. actually did not do a bad year. It's just that the others were so much better so far. But yeah, I think that this class was sick in wide receiver class and tight end. So
and even quarterback. I did not see Bo Nix to Drake May being this good. Like you knew they had.
Denver could have been a pick as a surprise team for sure.
Actually, yeah, that's probably a better pick than Carolina, to be honest. Yeah, because they actually made the playoffs. But I had Bo Nix. I mean, he's an older guy coming out of college, but he really good. Drake May, really the only bright spot for New England this year. It's surprising.
Let's talk about what's happening in New England. How can you have the first pick locked while you don't need a quarterback? So you can easily drop 1 or 2 steps and get the hole. And winning a game, I would have fired the coach at the halftime. So I just don't understand. How can you do that? How can you? It's not about, well, we play 16 games, so we need to go 17 games. Like if we cannot lose on purpose. Yes, you can. On the 17th game, you can lose on purpose. If you lose, you're at the number 1 pick, and you change the future of your team. I mean, I'm sorry. No. This makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand what's happening there.
I think So you may remember a couple of years ago, Houston did the same thing. Lovie Smith was the coach. They won the last game and they lost the number 1 pick. They ended up getting the number 2 pick. But I think that was different in this way. I think Lovie Smith knew he was going to.
Yeah.
Because remember, he went for the 2-point in the game. So I think he was flipping the bird.
I know.
I think Gerard Mayo was trying to show, hey, we're improving so he could keep his job. So I think it was a little different situation than Lovie Smith. But I agree with you. The difference between the number 1 pick and where they're going to pick.
Third now.
Yeah, it's huge draft capital wise. Tennessee now has the number 1 pick. Draft's in Green Bay, by the way. Draft is going to be in Green Bay.
Good.
But I agree with you. Like, there's so much turnover on an NFL team from year to year. They probably turn over at least 30% of their roster. So even if the owners came in and said, hey, play the backups because we want to lose this game, and they were afraid they were going to upset some of the veteran players, 30% or more of those players aren't even going to be there next year anyway. So it's no big deal. I agree. There's something to the competitive aspect of it that doesn't smell right. But if you put that aside and you just look at it about the value of the pick, they absolutely should have lost it.
Yeah. But anyway, let's look ahead on the wild card games. Tomorrow's big day starting Sunday, Monday Night Football. Wow. What a card. What amazing matchups there.
Oh, yeah.
I think, we can go one by one and spend maybe like a minute or less for each.
Yeah. So the first Saturday game on CBS, Chargers at Texans. Chargers are, at the time of this recording, favored by 3. I'm going heavy on Chargers.
Same
about you. Yeah, I'm all in on them. And the Texans, again, just didn't seem right this year. So
I agree. I have Willie Herbert's having a huge game there, like piling stats. I think they're McConkey as well. I think that they're gonna win that game.
Oh yeah. For sure. Then you have on Amazon Prime, the Steelers at the Ravens for the 3rd time this year. At the time of this recording, Baltimore favored by 10.
Yeah, I cannot stand Ravens, but I think they destroy the Steelers.
I do too. And the fact that now there's whispering of Tom might get traded, I think that's a mistake. Like, granted, they lost the last 4 games of the year, but the Steelers, he patches them together, and he's never had a losing year.
I agree. I would not fire Tomlin or trade Tomlin, but at the same time, it's been 7 years that they didn't win a playoff game, 7 or 8 years. So they always make it, but barely, and then lose the first round. So I think after a while, sometimes it's not about the quality of coaching. It's just another voice is needed. Yeah. So maybe it's that's happening over there.
We'll see. Then on Sunday, the first game, Broncos at Bills. Bills are favored by 9 at the time of this recording.
I'm rooting for the Bills to win it all. Like, it's literally the team I would love to see winning it all. But I think that's going to be a battle. I really think it's going to be a battle in the snow, maybe. I don't know. But
yeah, and the Broncos don't care about cold weather.
No, exactly. And the thing is the coaching. Yes, I think literally that the coach of Denver, oh my God, what's his name?
Oh, Sean Payton.
Yeah. That is super good in games that matters. And so I really think that I don't see them winning at the Bills, but I definitely would play the my +9, -9.
Yeah, I hear you. I actually think the Bills might cover.
Really?
I agree. This game has a potential to be really tight. I think if it was flipped, like the Bills were on the road at Denver, then definitely I think it's close. But the Bills, I think the fans are going to be rabid, and they got something to prove. But I wouldn't be shocked. I think that, I definitely can see where you're coming from on that. But it's tough to go against Josh Allen. Then What a difference 2 weeks make. I don't have the same level of enthusiasm about the Packers playing the Eagles. Right now, the Eagles are only favored by 4. I think there's a lot of Wisconsin money coming in on the Packers to keep the line that low, or they're trying to get people to take the Packers so that Vegas makes money. But I don't see this being close.
Me neither. Everybody know how I feel about the Eagles. I tend to always, making fun with Will, my best friend and co-host, about the Packers, but I don't have any. I can look everywhere. I don't see a way that the Packers can make it again. So we'll see.
And Jordan Love cost me money. At the beginning of the year, his over-under and touchdown passes were 27.5. Finished with 25.
Oh, you should change teams.
No. But my rose-colored glasses are coming off on Jordan Love. Next year, he better show me something. All right. Then this is going to be a fun one. Commanders.
Let's go.
Buccaneers.
Let's go there.
We should. I mean, obviously, we've talked about the Commanders a lot, and Baker, I talked about them early in the year about having an explosive offense, and they got to a point of really inconsistent, but he threw for 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. It's boom or bust. You get great Baker or bad Baker. Who knows who we'll see,
but you always get Shanahan Baker.
Yeah. Tampa Bay right now is favored by 3, which basically means on a neutral field, they view these teams as equal.
Yeah.
So who's your pick?
I will go with the Buccaneers because of experience. I love Daniels. He should be Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that I think experience on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I loved what they did with Evans, by the way, at the end of the game, hitting 5 yards. I mean, that's what sport is all about. The guy, you never hear him any news outside sports. He's literally a worker. He go home. He works, he go home. He needs 5 yards. And then Baker could just take a knee and he just give the ball to Evans for 7 more yards. So you get the 1,000 yards and tie Jerry Rice for 11 years in a row at 1,000 yards. I love that. That's what sports is all about. I know it's money involved everywhere, but I think that's really what I love. I love the team. You can see that they love working with each other, playing with each other. That's a very solid group. In neutral field, I would probably pick the Commanders. But playing at Tampa, I was looking actually maybe going on that game, but then I would miss the other 2 games. So that's why I'm not sure. But definitely, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will win based on experience.
I think they win not necessarily based on experience, but based on their defense. I like their defense a little better than the Commanders' defense. For whatever reason.
And then the running back, the rookie running back,
Bucky Earl.
He's impressive, and that's not the best Washington defense on the rush. Yeah. So I think that's also something to look at.
Yeah, I'm with you. Then with the Buccaneers, and then the Vikings at the Rams.
That's the best game.
So the Rams, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, with Puka healthy and all that, they're a Super Bowl contender." I never really bought into that. But obviously, it was talked a lot about last week, so we don't need to rehash it. But the Vikings at 14-3, being a 5 seed, have to go to LA, which is a long flight from Minnesota. The Rams rested a lot of players, so they basically had a bye week. The Vikings didn't. They were tried to fight tooth and nail Detroit. But I got a feeling who you're going to pick, but why don't you go ahead and shift?
I don't know. That's really that's the toughest game I have to really pick.
Vikings are favored by 1.5.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams win this game, but I'm so high on the Vikings all year long that I will need to focus to keep going there, because it's gonna be. I see that as an extreme high-scoring game. At the time of recording, it's 47.5, the over-under. I think it's going to be in the 60s. I really think so. So it's going to be a shootout. And when you have Jefferson, Addison, and on the other side, Puka and Cup, holy moly. And 2 quarterbacks can throw. And then they're running back as well. No, I think this is gonna be a firework of game, and it can go both direction. I will pick the Vikings with not a lot of conviction.
and I will pick the Rams without a lot of conviction. It's more of a spiteful against the Vikings pick because I think the Vikings are more talented. But that's the thing about football. One game, anything can happen. You have a kicker miss a kick. You have a guy drop a ball. And
Dicker the kicker.
Yeah.
He's not missing a lot. He's a Longhorn.
Yeah. But I think I think this. I agree. I think this game's high scoring. I think it can go either way. It's a coin flip. And I'll just pick the Rams out of spite. But I really think the Vikings probably will win. But I'll go on the record and pick the Rams.
All right. Before we wrap up, I just want to say a huge congratulations to my co-host and friend Will for winning the upset picks of the year. So
thank you.
Just a recap, we started when the season already were like 4 or 5 weeks in.
Yeah,
so we had week 14. So we have 14 weeks of upset picks. So each week 2 picks will be picked. So it means 28 games that we needed to pick during the duration of those upset picks. And Will won 15-4. So there was absolutely no competition. But it means that he had 15 upset picks correct out of 28, which is more than half.
Yeah.
So it means that more than half the pick that were underdog won the game. So congratulations.
Thank you
for winning this. Enjoy it because next year we're not gonna win.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use your strategy.
Yeah.
And
the skinny line.
Yeah. And yeah, so but it's amazing. It's really amazing to be able to pick right like upsets like more than half the time. So kudos.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I wish I would have been better picking my fantasy players for the first part of the day. You know how many points I scored the last 4 weeks in fantasy football? I crushed it.
On it?
Yeah. I had 339 points in the semifinal 2-week thing. And I finished with 290. I finished with the most points in both sections, which means if I would have been in the championship bracket, I would have won our league.
But oh yeah, that's true. Actually,
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I am not as optimistic about my performance next year, but we'll see. We'll try to replicate it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you, winners. Enjoy this weekend of football, college, and NFL. A lot of great games. Should be a lot to talk about and enjoy it. And as always, please remember to subscribe, share, and follow 2 for the Win on your favorite platform. We're on all of them. And thanks again to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. We will see you on Monday for our next Monday Mindset. In the meantime, take care, winners, and enjoy the games.
Bye, winners.